All right, guys, keto is in the news again, and this time I'm defending it. So the former Biggest Loser celebrity trainer, Jillian Michaels, made some comments about keto. They've been getting a lot of blowback amongst the keto community, but how rooted in science are they? Well, she said that your cells are made up of proteins, carbs, fats, and nucleic acids, and that if you're taking out any one of those nutrients, you're depriving them and you're starving your cells. Let's break it down. So first off, what is keto? What are we referring to? Well, when you fast for a long period of time or you eat a very, very low carbohydrate diet, usually at least under 100 grams a day, and for most people more like under 50 grams per day, your body actually, because it cannot produce enough glucose, it needs to spare that glucose because your body does need some glucose per day. So what it does is the liver starts producing ketone bodies. Those can be used by the muscle, by the brain, because the brain normally only exclusively uses glucose. So by producing ketone bodies, those can be used by the brain, those can be used by other tissues in the periphery as fuel. Hence the reason it's called the ketogenic diet. Genic, generating, keto, ketones. You're generating ketones, and those ketones can be used for fuel. And these are alternative fuels, okay? Okay. So even if you don't have carbohydrate, your body can make a certain amount of carbohydrate, which we're going to talk about in my next point. And by using ketones and fats, if you're doing the ketogenic diet right, you're eating a lot of fat, that will spare your endogenous supply of carbohydrate for what it's needed for. Now, that is the question, because Michael's statements, you're starving your cells. Do you need carbohydrate? So first off, what do we define as need? In my opinion, need means that without it, you die. Okay? Okay. Or you have some kind of really bad health problem. For example, we need a certain amount of vitamin C because if we don't have it, we'll get scurvy. Okay? Okay. We need a certain amount of vitamin D, and if we don't have it, we can get rickets. So there's certain diseases that can develop if you don't have enough of a certain nutrient. Do any diseases develop if you do not have enough carbohydrate? No. The body has about a 120 gram per day obligate usage of glucose. It needs about 120 grams a day of glucose. So I know some of you guys are thinking, but the ketogenic diet's only like 50 grams of carbs a day. Like you can't make enough. Well, what do you need it for? Well, your brain, but we already discussed ketones can be used for the brain, but your red blood cells actually only can exclusively use glucose. Central nervous system uses glucose. And in muscle cells, your anaerobic exercise also requires glucose, cannot use ketones. But through a process that we call gluconeogenesis, and I'm just going to denote that as G and G, this process of gluconeogenesis, we can produce glucose in the liver from gluconeogenic substrates, like about 60% of the amino acids, I believe, are gluconeogenic. The glycerol backbone of triacylglycerides. So the way you store fats is as triacylglycerides in adipose tissue. So when you go through the process of lipolysis, which is basically liberating those fatty acids so they can go to other tissues and be burned, the glycerol backbone from those fatty acids can then go to the liver and be used to make glucose. So even if you're not taking in any carbohydrate a day, zero carbohydrate, if you take in enough fats, your body can spare that glucose. Your body is very flexible in the fuels it can select. So are you going to starve your cells if you're on keto? The only way you're going to starve your cells is if you in fact starve. That is the only way you're going to starve your cells. Now, if you're trying to do high intensity anaerobic exercise, you may have performance decrements. It may negatively affect your performance. But are you going to starve? Are your cells going to starve? Are you going to have some kind of really negative outcome? Probably not. The only thing I would say is make sure you're taking a multivitamin if you're going to do keto, and try to get enough vegetables in, because it's going to be a very low fiber diet if you are not eating any carbohydrates. So those carbohydrates you do eat should be very heavily based in vegetables. Jillian Michaels has no business talking about starving cells when in the Biggest Loser challenge, they had people lose and encouraged them through dictatorial means to lose massive amounts of weight very, very quickly, that caused massive metabolic adaptation and metabolic slowing in these people. There was a study done on competitors from The Biggest Loser. Not only did all of them put almost all of it back on, but their metabolic rates 6 years later remained suppressed. So, sorry, Miss Michaels, you don't really have any room to talk about starving cells and keto being bad when you put people on starvation diets and unsustainable workouts. So, I'm sorry, Jillian Michaels. You spout some bro science, you get busted. Like I said, I don't hate the ketogenic diet. I don't hate intermittent fasting. I don't hate any of these diets. What I hate is bullshit. And so today, Jillian Michaels, you said some bullshit. All right, guys, if you liked the video, click like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next week.